without further notice, the Thomas Clark.
I appreciate that, because I know Phil's never gotten applauded to be on stage before. I love you, Phil. Lady, you picked a great week to come, because you don't have to hear him for half an hour. I'm just kidding, Phil. I love you. I really do. Well, like you said, we're going to figure out this in a second, so ignore the fact that it's squeaking for a little bit. My name's Tommy. I'm a junior for those of you who don't know me. And I'm just going to share a little bit of my story. They're going to figure this out. So just to start out with, this is really going to be a show. Can I move these, by the way? I'm going to run straight into them. Don't worry, the whole service isn't going to be like this.
Not that one.
Center stage is now over here. All right, well, my name's Tommy. I'm a junior here, and that's the second time I've said that. So, I'm just going to give you a little bit of my story. I started out in a Christian home. I was baptized when I was 7 because, as every good Christian little boy should know, that's what you're supposed to do. So I did it. I didn't really know what it meant at the time. I knew the right words to say, and I knew the right things that the preacher came over and interviewed me. I knew exactly what to say to him. But I didn't really know what it meant, and I didn't really have a full understanding of it. So when I did that, it was kind of just a selfish little make my parents happy kind of thing. I was a terrible child. I've been suspended from every single school I've gone to except for Lynchburg College. I hope to kill that streak at Lynchburg College, so hopefully I can stay here for a while. It's certainly, don't mess with me now. You're just getting me back. But yeah, I was an absolute dread as a child. And so it was really when I hit middle school, because that is when I got into the youth group at my church, that I started to change. And it wasn't so much the fact that I was now older and more mature. It was more the fact that I entered the youth group and I started to look up to these guys. And there were some older people in the youth group who I really just started to admire because they had this joy and passion for life. And they just really felt like, I just looked at them and they were going through so much hard times and so much crap that I was like, how could they be happy? What is going on? I want that. That's awesome. And then I realized kind of the common denominator in all of that was that they all had a relationship with God. And so in 7th grade, on my first mission trip in Hawaii, we suffered. I got baptized again. I got rebaptized on the beaches of Hawaii. And it was one of the most powerful things. I was knocked over by a wave during my baptism. Not sure if that was a sign. Either way, God just really wanted to make sure I got fully immersed. It worked. So, but I was rebaptized, and that time with the full understanding, knowing that this was not for me, that this was just a declaration that really I am now one with God. God is inside of me. I have Him, and it is awesome. And I went back to school, and people who knew me before had no clue who I was now. And people who knew me now would never believe who I was back then. Like I said, I've been suspended from every school I've gone to, except for this one. I'm going to keep it that way. So, moving on. I lived all right. I was, I had my hard times and my ups and my downs. For the most part, I was pretty much firm with God, and I said, you know what? This relationship is going to work, and I'm going to maintain it, and I'm going to stay happy with it, and it was for a long time. And then I hit my junior year of high school, and I really started to run into some trouble. I broke my knee, actually, on a mission trip the summer before my junior year, and that made me develop insomnia because I could not use the energy that I usually would during the day. So that was the start of it. I couldn't play football, which is something I've done for 6 years before that. And then the Virginia Tech shootings happened, and I lost a friend in those. My dad had a heart attack, and then a week later he had a stroke. He is still living, still with us, and still in relatively good health for that. And all of this just started piling on all at one time, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I was so mad and upset with God, but I didn't know it. Then we went on the mission trip that year, and we went to the Outer Banks, and we had these beach houses that we were staying in. I know, we suffered. And the younger kids, we wanted to go pick on the older guys. So we went over with water guns and started spraying everybody down. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. And then I turned around and realized I was the only younger kid still left doing that. And all the older kids realized it too and just came after me. So naturally I took off sprinting. I run track, so I'm super, super fast. Faster than a speeding bullet. Some of you get that. And the problem was, we were at the Outer Banks, there was sandy, I slipped on the driveway, I scraped up my side, my face, everything. And I was just lying there in pain, crying, and they pelted me with water balloons. They didn't know I was hurt at the time, so I can't blame them for it, but I did. But it just, at that moment, I was just so upset. And it wasn't because they pelted me, it wasn't because I got hurt at that moment, it's because so much of this has happened now. So much of my life has just been filled with crap and misery and pain and hurt, and I could not take it anymore. And I walked out to the back porch of the beach house, and for 2 hours straight, I just yelled at God. And I was so upset with him, and I was angry, and I was full of rage. And my youth pastor came out, and one of my friends came out, and they talked to me for about 30 minutes. And while they were talking, all I could think was, when are they going to shut up? But they did eventually, and they left. But later on, I realized the power of what they said. And I want you to listen carefully to this part, because this is when Christianity really became real to me. In one moment, less than a second, just a split moment, every single bit of rage, anger, hate, frustration, everything that was in me vanished. And a peace and joy came over me. And that is how I know that God is real. And that is how I know that God is inside of me. Because there is nothing else that can do that. That can let me go through that and say, yes, I know, life is hard, and you're going to have to live it. But guess what? I'm here, and I'm going to help you with that. And so from then on, I really started to live out my faith, and I really started to take control of it. And I decided that I wanted to go into youth ministry, which is what I'm here for. I'm a religions and communications major, so I can communicate my religion. It works. And that's partly why I'm here right now, is because I want to start doing this, and I really want to start talking to people and just showing them, God's love and how powerful He is. And so when I got here, I started out strong, and I kind of started to slack on my faith a little bit, not because it was I was having a hard time at school, or because I was having a hard time with drinking or anything like that. It was just I was getting mellow, and I was just I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't going out and reading the Bible all the time. I wasn't doing my devotionals. I was just kind of plateaued. And I thought everything was fine, and that's the problem. I thought that I didn't have to work on it, and that was the problem. So my faith really started to go down. And it's not that I believed any less, I just didn't do anything with it. And so when we went to Honduras last year, I really started to focus on it. And I talked to Phil, and we went through a whole week series of just intense time of questioning everything that I believed and questioning my life, and just really started to live intentionally. And from that moment on, I went to Honduras, and that was fantastic. I got to experience everything that I was living and everything that I couldn't usually experience. And being around people who had so much less than me, but were still so joyful because, a lot of them knew they had God. And I was just like, if they've got so little but can love Him so much, why can't I when I have so much? So that's, when I started to turn around there, and now I'm still working on it every day. I am not perfect. I will never be perfect. And I'm never going to get to a place where I'm saying, I am perfectly happy where I am with God right now. Because until I am like Jesus, until I am perfect like Jesus, which was not going to happen, I'm going to continue to work on it. So that's a little bit of my story. So we're going to show a quick video right here, and that's just going to kind of see if you can relate your story into what you see in the video.